Britney Spears, for the first time in a very long time, I think almost 2 years, was on the phone of a courtroom during a case for her conservatorship when she asked a court to end it. She wanted it to all be over. Britney Spears saying she really, or I guess in summary, Britney Spears really unloaded on her dad. I mean, just saying how out of control he was, how manipulative he was, how conniving. I think that conniving was maybe used in I read the transcript this morning. It's a lot to unpack, but Britney Spears also saying she feels that her father should be in jail for the way that he's handled the conservatorship.
Jeez.
And claimed that she's not even allowed, she's under such control that she's not even allowed to take out her IUD and have a baby with her boyfriend. She wants to expand her family, and she's not allowed.
How can somebody have that much control over you, though?
He has control over everything. She was...
but whether you get pregnant or not?
Yep. Has control over every single dime of her money. I mean, down to every penny.
I get that part, but you're talking about pregnancy.
Yeah,
all of it.
Seems wild.
All of it. Forcing her to work, like, according to Britney Spears, forcing her to work 7 days a week with no break at all. Coming off of her Las Vegas residency, she was supposed to go right into another tour that she said she just didn't feel she was equipped to do because she had just spent 4 years in Vegas and doing her show night after night after night. And then this tour was supposed to kick off, and she said that it was like a 200-pound burden on her at all times because she didn't feel that she was physically capable of doing it. She said, but every day, I practiced every day. And she said she was proud of the show because it was her own choreography. And at one point, according to Britney Spears, because I did read the transcript, but according to Britney, I guess that word, her manager, she refers to her managers or the keepers of the conservatorship, came to her and said, we don't want that dance move on the tour. And she said, well, we're doing it because this is what I'm spending my time doing. I choreographed the whole show. I don't want to do your move. I want to do my move. And so it was like this big deal.
Jeez.
They put her into extensive amounts of therapy, talking to her therapist 2, 3, 4, 5 times a week. And I guess that somebody from her management team told her other therapist who's in charge of her medications that she was not being cooperative. And so they changed her from all of her medications and put her on lithium.
Ooh, that's my dad's a pharmacist.
Yes.
Antipsychotic medication.
She said that she felt drunk 24/7. 24/7
That's a
being on
powerful
lithium.
medication.
Said that they had nurses living in the home, or at least would come to the house to check her vitals. She said she gave 8 vials of blood a week. What do you need all that for? What do you need that
Probably
for?
seeing if she's taking her medication.
Well, I guess so. 8 a week.
That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, vials of blood. Make sure everything's okay. But can you imagine you spend your life that way? Now look, Framing Britney Spears came out, and a lot of these allegations were brought up in the documentary. And I watched it, and I've said when I watched it, I thought, damn, I didn't know that all of this was going on. Now, again, it's a documentary.
They shade it one way, but
sure,
yeah.
it can be one way or another. But a lot of the things that Britney Spears is saying, under oath, by the way, saying that were from the documentary are also things that Britney is backing up in her own words.
Well, yeah, and again, sorry, Jason, but again, I think we've seen in the last few years that high-level people that you trust to do the right thing don't always do the right thing.
Sure.
So could a judge have signed off on a conservatorship when it shouldn't have happened? Very possible. Very possible.
But that's true.
But it's still like saying there's something missing.
That's what I'm saying.
There's so many celebrities and athletes and all these different people, young stars and all this stuff that that have had train wreck lives that aren't put under a conservatorship.
And more importantly, I'm judging from the outside. I can't believe she's on lithium. Let's say that these doctors are right. She needs that medication.
Yeah.
That means she has some serious mental health issues.
Right.
Because she's on lithium. That's a very powerful drug. And now it's very possible that it's manipulated, but at the same time, if the doctor is a true doctor to his word and feels as though she needs to be on that medication, there's something that she's done or did or feels to be on that medication and prescribed it.
Okay, so I definitely see that side of it, but I also want you to think of Michael Jackson, where you are around people who say yes to every single thing that you tell them to do. There was a doctor who was actively choosing and helping Michael Jackson to put himself to sleep every single night.
Propofol, which is a surgery medication.
I mean, overall, I trust doctors. Overall, I trust. Are there ones that are willing to do and say and act and administer in any way, sure. And Britney Spears, in her own words, in this courtroom to the judge, talking about how she's the meal ticket. She is the workhorse of the family, and she is paying. I think she said something like, I've roofed. It was an interesting way that she said it, but she's, I've roofed these people. I've paid for their lifestyles. I've provided everything that my family has. I've provided it, and no one cares about me.
And you think about that. I'm wondering if the conservative, is that what it's called? Conservatorship. I wonder if, for instance, they decide how much money she makes and how much money they make off of the tour because they're participating in the management of Britney Spears. So I'm wondering if they like pay her nothing and they get everything. You know what I mean?
I don't know. Yeah, and I guess that would have to go through some legal process. We don't know.
I'm not sure. But Britney Spears even saying, certain things. It's very fascinating to hear Britney talk.
She hadn't said anything in
She hasn't. 2 years. In 2 years, she hasn't said anything. And the reason she said that she has not spoken up for herself in court recently is because the last time she did it 2 years ago, she felt like nothing she said mattered. It didn't have any weight. No one listened to her. And she was like, I'm not doing that again. She said she poured her heart
trying to protect herself
into everything to plead her case. She felt like nobody listened to her, and then it got worse.
You know what, though?
Oh,
and I don't know what she's going through.
If this is true, though, that's horrible.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
It's a terrible miscarriage of justice. I mean, just didn't do that to your own daughter, too. But my thought is she still has the court of public opinion where she has an Instagram following that's huge. She can go on any time and say, every day, drumbeat. They're treating me terribly. I can't do this.
Well, they can stop it.
Yeah, if they're in charge of it.
Some article said that she's in charge of her own social media.
Maybe that's the Lisa
like
Lanier thing, but I think that she if she's under that dictation where she can get pregnant or not, or down to the cabinet color of her kitchen, that's what it said, I think, at one point.
Yeah.
Then they certainly can probably manage what she posts.
Well, and when it comes to...
She has her phone. They take her phone away.
Probably.
She's posting all these selfie videos.
Well, yeah, and
she can't quickly say, hey, this is really terrible. I need help. And
I think she has done some things like that. I think she's done things
She comes on and says, I'm fine.
Well, and she said in the court testimony or in her appearance, I lied about that. She said, because the consequences are too great.
Oh, my gosh.
She said that what happens is it turns into more intense therapy when I don't think it could get any more intense.
It's like she lives in North Korea.
It seems like. And Britney Spears, talking about the IUD, but this is a direct quote from Britney. She said, quote, I was told right now in the conservatorship, I'm not able to get married or have a baby. I have an IUD inside of myself right now, so I don't get pregnant. I wanted to take the IUD out so I could start trying to have another baby, but this so-called team won't let me go to the doctor to take it out.
Jeez. That can't be.
So she said,
like she can't go in a car and drive to the doctor.
No, and as a matter of fact, she's not allowed to drive herself. And at the very end of her testimony, she said, I want to sue my family, to be totally honest with you. She said, and there's some profane language, but she said, I want to live my own life, have access to my own money, and ride in my boyfriend's effing car. He's not allowed to drive her anywhere.
Okay, if that's true, then you can see she can't get out.
She can't.
But I'm wondering if
I'd have a press conference right away and just spill everything.
Oh, she says she wants to talk.
The court of public opinion would be so great that a judge would be like, that shouldn't be the case, but a judge would be like, let's reverse this.
But Jared, I'm wondering if what you're saying is something sparked her for the judge to say this, right?
Sure.
So, and the lithium is a very powerful medication. Did she do something like? I don't know. This is not alleged or anything. I'm just speculating.
Yeah.
I'm not even speculating. I'm just saying something of that magnitude would warrant her putting her kids in danger.
Right.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Right.
Or saying something really bad about her kids, especially that they don't want her to have kids, that caused the judge to say, yes, she needs to be under this mandatory dictatorship.
And what bothers me, because usually there's all sorts of power dynamics in everything that we do.
Sure.
Jamie Lynn Spears, the dad, is not at that point a powerful person. Britney Spears was one of the biggest stars in the world.
And she mentions that. She says, my father took nothing but 100,000% joy in knowing he had control over me, Britney Spears, somebody who was so much more powerful than he would ever be.
But do you think there's got to be something that
I
at
think
least sparked
maybe.
it? But then over a course of time, you think this can't be a lifelong thing.
Yes, I think that, yes, because we know for a fact that when Britney Spears was being hunted down by the paparazzi, when she was having what I believe to be severe postpartum issues, you know, severe. But I think she needed help then. I think that she needed to be assessed or to be in therapy or to have some medication. And then it just seemed like it turned into something it never should have turned into.
I can't think of another.
She could be suicidal.
Maybe. But I can't think of another huge celebrity. There's been other celebrities suicide, but they don't put them in.
They don't. But they don't. So why her? Is it because she's such a meal ticket?
And maybe she doesn't fight back the way some people would.
And she does say that she did it to keep the peace, that she didn't fight back for a long time, but to keep the peace because they would say to her, you know, if this goes to court, some really bad things might come out about you, or you might not be Britney Spears, you know, America's sweetheart anymore. And so she was just like, what? Are you threatening me?
Look, you shouldn't be dictated by the worst thing you've ever done.
No, but it's also scary if you are younger and then you have somebody who say, listen, I signed papers one time 1,000,000 years ago because the person who was in charge of me told me to do it.
Right.
I just did it.
Because you're scared not to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So can you imagine that it's like, I don't know how to proceed. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know when I go to court, is it going to get worse than it already is? Why would you want to stir the pot?
And I think right now, although there is a cancel culture, this is different. I think that people are so forgiving when it comes to having personal weaknesses. Like, oh, when she just had a baby, she had this thing and she's been really working on her mental health, that I think if she's worried about her image being tarnished, right now she's become like this bizarre, people think she's a prisoner. Can it be worse? I don't know.
It seems like she is a prisoner. I don't know.
She's so manipulated by the fact that she's worried about what people might think of stuff that she may have done, that she's willing to go along with it up until now.
And also how you can be beaten down,
right?
You know, where you have, if you're not allowed access anywhere. At one point, Britney Spears said that she legit left the home only to go into these tiny rooms to have therapy sessions. And she said that as she was on her way to these rooms, she would see like fine dining restaurants and people laughing and eating. And she was like, I'm not allowed to do any. So it was almost like a form of torture in that sense, because here she is going into a world that's carrying on. Everybody's living their life. She has to go to and from these therapy rooms, and then that's it.
Wow.
It was almost like taunting her.
Like she's like COVID lockdown for her whole life.
It seems.
All right, we got official attorney Lisa Lanier on the phone. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. You know, I think it's kind of strange that a conservatorship was used to begin with Britney Spears, because normally those are vehicles that are used in a situation with an elderly person who has become unable to manage their assets and affairs, usually due to like severe Alzheimer's or a stroke. Sometimes somebody that's been like in a car accident and they suffered a traumatic brain injury, and, you know, they really are incapable of managing their affairs, and they're usually permanent. So the idea is when you go under a conservatorship, it's permanent. And there is a different vehicle that they could have used back in 2008 that's a temporary conservatorship. And that seems like that would have been a more appropriate avenue to take with her, because she was mentally unstable. She was hospitalized. I mean, clearly she was going through something. Like you said, maybe it was postpartum, whatever. But that's typically something that's non-permanent, that you can get under control with proper treatment and medication. And here she is all these years later, still under that. And it's usually pretty hard to break. But I'll tell you, at that hearing where she spoke out, the judge seemed very sympathetic. And the judge said to her, get your lawyer to file a petition. The petition is the way that you undo it. So what the judge was basically saying is, file that petition, and I have a feeling the judge is going to undo it. That's sort of what that sounded like to me. And it seems like it's time. I mean, like you said, these unbelievable. I mean, the only thing that I could imagine is that maybe she really is still so unstable that, you know, she's not really been allowed to raise her children. Kevin Federline has basically raised the children at the father's direction, at Jamie Lynn Spears' direction, with her having visitation. And, you know, so, I mean, maybe she really is. Who knows? I mean, that's what I think the threat has been all this time to her is, look, you know, we're going to reveal just how unstable you really are, and that you are not capable of managing your life and your affairs, or, you know, rearing your children and those sorts of things. And if that's true, then, you know, maybe she is, but I can't imagine, you know, if you can perform the way she does, you can put that act together and get out there and do what she does. how can you be that unstable? You know, if you can work like that.
And how many?
It just doesn't make sense.
How many artists and actors and stuff are, and just people? are
People in
unstable.
general, yes.
We work with
Right.
tons of unstable people, Jason. But not to make light of it. But I'm just saying, we have and they function, or they're not controlled in this manner.
Right.
Now, could Lisa Lanier, she's our official attorney, could there be something written in a conservatorship you cannot procreate?
Well, it's not that it's written into the conservatorship. What happens is the conservator just has complete control over you. I mean, and so absolutely the conservator can dictate medical care, which, you know, whether or not she has an IUD removed is part of that.
Oh my
So
gosh.
and they basically once you're under a conservatorship, you are under someone's complete and total control. And she did get her attorney, I think, within the last year, to get an independent financial advisor to handle the money part as a conservator. But that's all. Spears still gets to control everything about her life. So that's kind of the next step. She's kind of taking baby steps. You know, she's put in some financial oversight, and now she's trying to get the control back.
Well,
but
you see, you see what
it'll
Lisa's
be an all or
saying, though.
nothing thing.
It's like somebody that's had a stroke or can't even take care of themselves gets awarded a conservatorship, right? So, but she's getting that when she's young for the rest of her life. It's not like some person sitting there that doesn't know what's going on whatsoever, has a stroke, and can't
elderly,
even
maybe,
can't even walk almost, and think for themselves. That's what she's basically
What they're
was
equating
award-
it to.
yeah, it's equaling it
But
to.
then on the side is doing a 4-year Vegas residency.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
that's
like
odd, right?
somebody who probably really needs the conservatorship would never even be able to think about doing
Or do
a Vegas
anything.
resident.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, going on to another tour. And then also, you know, I can't help but think that given the time and thankfully that we're in, is that like if your biggest threat against Britney Spears and what you're holding over her is we're going to tell the world how mentally unstable you are, I think that shouldn't be a threat anymore to her. I mean, we have
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
many programs in place. We're so accepting of the fact that, you know, let's talk about mental illness. Let's find the help. Don't make it a stigma. Let's all talk about it and not be ashamed of it anymore. Now's the time to not have that
That's
hanging
what I'm
over
saying.
your
There's
head.
a way she can even use the court of public opinion. But if, let's say her Instagram, even though one lady says it's not, but that could all be a lie, that it's not controlled, she can do Instagram Live today and say, listen, da-da-da-da-da-da.
I think she's
and
so
it'd be
under
a worldwide
every-
story
yeah.
that the pressure would be so great, at least against the father, that there might be some sort of
If she
change.
can't take her IUD out, I don't think that
Yeah.
she's going to have any access to her.
She can't leave the house
Yeah.
and go do a press conference? Nothing.
I don't think she's going to be able to use her
No,
social
she can't.
media.
She's under total lockdown. I mean, they control everything about her life, and it seems kind of absurd because, and you know, they're out there saying go work like crazy and support everybody. And by the way, you're still going to stay under. You're not stable. You know, you're not.
And
But you're able to get. It's just crazy that she can work like she does. I mean, I can't imagine that they have any real medical evidence or psychiatric evidence that she is incapable of managing her affairs. I just find that hard to believe.
No more than any other
Right.
person.
I'm able to go blow whatever I want on, you know, money anywhere, any way I want. I shouldn't be allowed to do that. Do you know what I mean? But,
There's tons of people that mismanage their lives.
And how sad, you know, Lisa, you brought up the fact that how sad, you know, a life lived but not lived at all. She's not able to raise her children. She's not able to have an active say in anything that her children do because somebody says you're not fit. But go work, but you're fit enough to go work, you know, 24 hours a day, 7 days a
and
week
line
to
our
make that
pockets.
money.
Well, and we learned through COVID that the lockdowns for a lot of people for most people were bad for your mental health. And it's been going on for 13 plus years.
Years for her.
So that can't be helping the situation if she is severely mentally ill.
No.
All right. Well, we'll see. Maybe this will be what it took. It took her to actually speak out in court during this time that we live in now that maybe there'll be a change.
Yeah.
Do you think so, Lisa?
Yeah, I mean, the judge basically at the end invited her attorney to file a petition to end it. And so I think that's great. I mean, I think that means that it rung, you know, she resonated with the judge for sure.
All right, as always, she's great. Official attorney of Jared and Katie in the Morning, Lisa Lanier. If you're ever injured on the job, and she does a lot more than that, contact her right away at hireaheavyweight.com.